The screen's cold glow cast shadows across Chad's face as he sat rigid, arms crossed, in their cramped quarters. Kale and Lyra slept nearby, their soft breaths a fragile counterpoint to the propaganda blaring from the screen. Ayatu tidied their meager belongings, but Chad's eyes were locked on the broadcast, a venomous stream of council lies. The narrator's voice dripped with authority, designed to sow fear and obedience. Grainy footage of Krasley's jungles flickered, tangled vines, shadowed creatures, and blurred Kras hunters wielding spears. The Kras, the voice intoned, savages wallowing in a ruined world, worshipping suns and scavenging relics. They are chaos incarnate, a threat to our order. The scene shifted to Argobian soldiers drilling in pristine domes, their rifles gleaming. Only the Council's wisdom protects us from their barbarity. We must stand vigilant. Hashim appeared, his pale face grave. The Kras are a warning of anarchy. We act for Argob's survival. Chad's fists clenched as staged reenactments followed, Kras tribes attacking Argobians in fabricated assaults, their faces twisted into monstrous snarls. The lies were blatant, priming Argob for war against a people who didn't know they existed. Ayatu approached, sensing his fury. "What is it?" she asked, her voice a quiet anchor. Chad jabbed a hand at the screen, his voice raw. "Propaganda. They're demonizing your people to justify genocide." Ayatu's gaze hardened as she watched, her jaw tight. "They know nothing of us. Fear drives them to madness." Chad nodded, his mind churning. "They manufacture fear, then pose as saviors. It's vile." Ayatu's hand rested on his shoulder, steadying him. "Then we stop them," she said, her tone resolute. "We can't let these lies win." Chad's work with the underground revealed the Council's suffocating grip. Hashim's influence saturated every facet of Argob, military drills, media broadcasts, and laws that branded Krasley a scourge. Each public address reinforced the narrative: the Kras were the enemy, and only the Council could save Argob. The underground's resistance grew perilous. Meetings huddled in forsaken tunnels, their whispers drowned by machinery's hum, but every stolen file risked exposure. Betrayal meant not exile but execution. Chad felt the Council's spies closing in, their presence a shadow over every move. One night, returning from a covert meeting, he found Ayatu by the window, her eyes scanning the dark street. "They're watching us," she whispered, her voice taut. Chad froze. "Who?" "A stranger," she said, stepping closer. "Across the street, pretending to tinker with a panel. They kept staring at our door." Chad glanced outside, the street now empty. "We'll be more careful," he said, his voice firm but laced with doubt. Ayatu gripped his arm, her eyes fierce with fear. "I'm scared, Chad. For Kale, Lyra, for us. If they know what you're doing." "They won't," he vowed, though uncertainty gnawed at him. "But we can't stop, Ayatu. If we do, Krasley burns, and we're next." Ayatu nodded, her resolve reluctant but unbroken. "Promise you'll stay safe." "I promise," Chad said, the weight of his words a stone on his chest. The underground's efforts intensified, each day a race against Hashim's war machine. Chad smuggled files from secure archives, their contents chilling, blueprints for weapons of annihilation, not defense. Fusion warheads, biodispersal units, tools to eradicate Krasley's people and plunder its resources. The Council's plan wasn't war, it was extermination. In a hidden chamber, Chad presented his findings to Neri and the underground. "The Kras have no defenses," he urged, his voice sharp with urgency. "If we warn them, give them time to prepare, it could save them." Neri's eyes narrowed, her arms crossed. "It's a deadly gamble. If the Council traces the message, we're finished." "I know," Chad said. "But silence means their death, and ours next. Hashim won't stop at Krasley." The room stilled, the weight of his words sinking in. Neri's voice cut the silence. We need a plan, secure, untraceable. A warning to Krasley without exposing us. I'll find a way, Chad vowed, determination burning through his fear. That night, Chad returned home to find Ayada cradling Lyra, Kale playing quietly nearby. The air was thick with unspoken dread. We need to leave, Ayada said, her voice trembling yet firm. Not soon, now. Chad's heart sank, but he nodded. I know. But there's one last thing I must do. Ayada's eyes narrowed, Lyra stirring in her arms. What? He hesitated, then spoke, his voice low but resolute. I'm working with the underground to warn Krasley. If we can get a message to your people, they might stand a chance. But it's risky, Hashem's spies are closing in. Ayada's face tightened, fear warring with pride. You're risking everything. For you, for the twins, for Krasley, Chad said, his hand finding hers. I can't let Hashem destroy it all. Ayada's gaze softened, but her voice held steel. Then do it fast. We'll be ready to run, together. Their eyes locked, a shared vow against the gathering storm. Time was their enemy, but their resolve burned brighter, a fragile hope for a world worth saving.